Hello everyone, and thank you very much for joining us today for our ConnecTALKS Spotlight on Luxury Travel in Saudi Arabia. My name is Greg Reeves and I'm the Commercial Director at Connections. As I'm sure many of you know, Connections is the international private community for trusted decision makers in high-end travel. We help industry leaders from all corners of the globe meet and do business in the Connections way, a pioneering networking concept combining one-to-one meetings and memorable experiences to forge long-lasting business relationships. Since April 2020, we have hosted 11 very successful virtual events for our own members and for specific tourist boards, achieving an incredibly high level of satisfaction rates. And we look forward to our upcoming virtual and physical events. Today, I'm joined by my colleagues, Michaela Jacoba, founder and director of Connections, she's there waving, and we've got Gemma Fitchett, Head of Marketing and Communications, who will be interacting with you in the chat, sharing information and spotlighting our session. We're also privileged to be joined by Natalie Virani, Head of Communications at Discover Saudi, who shall be interacting in the chat below also and helping us answer any questions. Thank you very much, Nat, for your time and for joining us. Also, a shout out to any of the Connections team that are joining us. I can see a few of you on there. Good to see you. So I'm sure by now everyone is very familiar with Zoom, but if not, could I ask everyone to please place yourself on mute? This session will last up to an hour and is being recorded. So if you have colleagues or friends who might find this ConnectTALKS useful, we'll be distributing the talks in the coming days. Following this session, we'll be sticking around for an informal social. So if you're able to stay on the call and catch up with other Connections members, we look forward to seeing you then. Finally, as this session is live, anything can happen. So for any reason, if we're cut off, please stick around and we'll get things back together as soon as we can. So let's get started. We're absolutely thrilled to be working alongside Connections member Discover Saudi to bring you today's ConnectTALKS. Today we'll focus our attention on Saudi Arabia and dig deeper into the region's tourism goals. This session is especially interesting as it's not often a new destination opens its doors to tourism, and I'm sure everyone is keen to find out more about what this destination has to offer. We'll be exploring questions such as, why now? Why is Saudi opening its doors for tourism? And what makes Saudi Arabia different from other GCC destinations? Furthermore, there's another reason we're excited to explore Saudi Arabia. This year has already been very exciting for us all here at Connections. Amongst several new initiatives announced this year, it was just earlier this month that our parent company, Jacobs Media Group, announced the launch of Connecting Travel in the Middle East, an exciting expansion to serve and support the local travel and hospitality industries, whilst leading the conversation in the UAE. So it's exciting times indeed, and we're delighted to be here to present Saudi. Now, to learn more about this new exciting destination, we have the pleasure of being joined by a number of experts in the region. So I'd like to introduce Anas Alsharief, Destination Partnership Director at Saudi Tourism Authority. Anas's role includes liaising between STA and local DMOs, supporting the destination on KPIs, best practice and knowledge sharing in destination. What you may not know is that Anas has been to every continent except for Antarctica, which he says is on the list. So thanks for joining us, Anas. It's great to see you. We're also joined by Fahad Alobailan, who is the Vice President of Discover Saudi, a DMC, and it's part of the Sira Group holding. In his role, Fahad is committed to ensuring the continuous growth of all of Sira's global retail channels. With over 15 years of experience in a variety of retail sectors and industries across Saudi Arabia. Fahad is also a member of Saudi Arabia's Tourism and Entertainment Committee. Fahad dedicates a lot of free time to volunteering, including being a member of the Business Youth Committee and lending his expertise at sessions at the Jeddah Chamber of Commerce. What you might not know about Fahad, he's scribbling during every call, so talking to him might result in some rare artwork. So Fahad, we'll see what you have at the end of this one.
Yeah, I already started actually.
Good stuff. We'll do an auction at the end. Eh? Finally, please welcome Mustafa Nani, the Regional Director of Sales at Accor.
Hello, everyone.
Mo was actually a dentist until 1996, when he joined the hospitality industry in the field of sales for different hotel management companies. Following which he landed in Accor, a brand he's been part of now for 15 years. Mo moved from Egypt to lead the sales in Saudi, and then to Dubai to manage the sales in both Saudi and Egypt. So he's very well traveled across the GCC. Mo only moves to places where there is access to the sea, as he can't stop being underwater. Fantastic. Well, thank you all for joining us. And I want to kick off now with the first question. So I'm going to ask each of our panelists the same question to get things started. And that question is, as a new destination, how do you contribute to the success of the tourism vision of the kingdom? And I'm going to ask for this as an elevator pitch, which has to be answered in between 1 and 2 minutes. So one more time, the question is, as a new destination, how do you contribute to the success of the tourism vision of the kingdom? Anas, would you like to kick things off?
Sure. Certainly, thank you very much. The success of the tourism industry in Saudi is, to us, it's very basic. It's part of the overarching 2030 vision for Saudi. And to us, that means by 2030, we need to hit 100 million visitors in Saudi Arabia. Now, we're looking at it from a trade perspective and from a visitor perspective as well. So on the trade level, we basically opened offices in UK and Ireland, Russia and CIS, as well as Germany, to basically bring in partners. We started a global campaign that spanned 28 markets in 13 languages, that basically generated a lot of intrigue and mystique about Saudi and interest. So people are now interested in Saudi. We also participated in trade shows. Now we had our first physical one in Dubai, the ATM, where we had 900 face-to-face interactions and meetings. And that's only the start. It's only going to get bigger and better. So to us, from a trade perspective, that's a very big journey. And even on the visitor side, we had 2 successful campaigns, and we're just about to launch the 3rd one for domestic tourists. So Saudi is reopening and it's welcoming tourists. Once the restrictions are lifted, we're more than happy to have people come in and experience the authentic Arabian, to have the authentic Arabian experience.
Fantastic, thanks, Anas. Now, Fahad, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm sure that everyone could see that Saudi Arabia is undergoing an economic and social transformation. And we at Sira Group could see that transformation as a positive topic and a positive point to be leading and supporting that vision. And you know, our purpose of opening up, our purpose as Sira Group, which is the holding company of Discover Saudi, of opening up the opportunity of travel for all by connecting cultures. You know that there are a history here in Saudi Arabia, a lot of history. We could share it with a lot of visitors. And you know, it's clear that Saudi Arabia is opening up. Since 2019, we have a tourist visa, and already that vision fueled by a bold ambitions to become a major tourist destination. And you could see like different kinds of mountains, different kinds of seas, different kinds of cultures. All of these, it's already available or already there in Saudi Arabia. And absolutely, as Sira Group, we feel we are part of this initiative and provide a bridge to connect different culture to Saudi. You know, as our name, Sira, it's the name of journey in Arabic. We are still in the start of the journey. We are doing a lot of different activities or different strategic works to be delivering that vision. And absolutely, the journey will be taking a time, but we remain optimistic about the future. And we could see that yesterday we had a lot. We were in the summit of the tourism tourism recovery summit in Riyadh. You and the WTO already opened an office in Riyadh. So, and I think this milestone will be like big change and will be delivering an extensive view about Saudi Arabia to be contributing to the tourism sector in the world.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Fahad. And then I'm going to pass it over to you, Mustafa. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. I think today Accor have realized the vision of the kingdom very early in 2018 as well. And we have reacted as a company with putting something called in-out strategy. On the in-out strategy, when we talk about the in, there was a lot of changes starting from the organization itself of Accor, and now having in 2018 a new CEO, a new chief commercial officer, and new chief operating officer that's completely embedded into this culture and into this organization to make sure that they cater for the change in Saudi as well and understand this. And this drives a lot of changes to the company itself, and allocating more funds actually to Saudi Arabia than it was earlier in 2017. On the out strategy, it's very funny because today you can see the triangle that helped into success of this vision, which having Anas representing the FTA and Fahad representing FERA, which is one of the key DMCs today, and me as an hotel operator. So we are part of this ecosystem, and we are really working together with all the stakeholders to make sure to the success of this vision.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mustafa. So I've already heard the date 2018 mentioned a few times, which is interesting because I'm moving on to the next question, which Anas, it's for you. And you can correct us if we're wrong, but for some of us here, it feels like Saudi is only just now opening its doors for tourism. And my question is, why now? Why has the decision been made? And why are we now seeing that Saudi is open for tourism?
So there's just a small correction there. It's not now. It actually started in 2019. So we opened up or started issuing the e-visas in September 2019. And between September 2019 and March 2020, we issued over 400,000 e-visas to visit Saudi. So that shows and reflects the intrigue and the interest in visiting Saudi. Now, there's always been mystique around Saudi and what it is. And to us, that was the perfect opportunity for us to showcase to the world the authentic Arabian experience that it is Saudi. So we have some iconic destinations, we have timeless stories, and we have unique cultural experiences available that would offer interesting and amazing experience for those who visit Saudi. And going back to the why now, it makes sense given that we have a lot of landscape, beautiful landscape, luscious mountains, deserts, and virgin beaches. So it's the perfect opportunity, given that what the world is going through and what it went through with the global pandemic, that you can enjoy open spaces and natural beauty, enjoy nature.
No, that's a fantastic response. And yeah, absolutely. The trend that we're seeing here at Connections is really towards, nature space, adventure, private. So no, absolutely understood. So I have a question, Fahad, for you, and that is, what is the value proposition of Saudi from your point of view? And to ask maybe another question on the back of that, what makes it different from other GCC destinations?
Yeah, as the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia opened up for inbound tourism in September 2019, as Anas mentioned, yes, now, I think now we have a lot of experiences that will be like good and fit for any visitor, even different customer profile, different interests. We have a wide landscape, and now I'm in Riyadh. We are around 40 centigrade the temperature, but now in south it's around 18 centigrade, and we have raining there. We have a lot of forest. In Red Sea, we have a lot of around 1,700 kilometers from north to south, and different type of corals, different type of, we have sandy sea, and we have like beach, we have rocky beach, different kind of beaches, different kind of experiences. We have the heritage, we have you know, a lot of tribes of Arabian tribe have been in the Arab islands, and you know that's our slogan when we launch the tourist visa, e-tourist visa, we call it "Welcome to Arabia." So I think we have a culture that we should share it with the world, and we are welcoming the world. And in the other side, you know, I think Arabian hospitality, it's not only a culture, it's a way of life here in Saudi Arabia. You could go to any city and with different type of treatments. When you go to north, like in Tabuk or Al-Ula, the way of treating guests is different with the capital of Saudi Arabia and like the south of Saudi Arabia. These kinds of elements, it's very unique, and absolutely it will be integrated into the experience that will be like sharing with our customer. Even in other sites, you know, there is a history about the Bedouins' life. There is a history about like sands, a lot of sandstones. We have empty quarter, a lot of sandy dunes, and there are a lot of experience could be developed there. We have some secured areas that used to be secured and there is no access to it, like Al-Ula or Al-Hijr. And now there is a big transformation there to build an experiences to be like accessible for any visitors from outside of the kingdom. And even we had good experience with one festival, we call it Winter at Tantura. Our Discover Saudi team had been like doing the full operation, ground operation, and we received a lot of customers from outside of the kingdom. And I really meet some of them in that time. They were really excited about what they saw and what they experienced during their visits. I'm sure that, and even when you go to other sites, we have a Sarawat Mountains. You could do a lot of hiking activities. We have edge of the world in the capital of Saudi Arabia. Now in Riyadh, in the middle of the city, downtown, there are a lot of traditional markets. There is Al Masmik Palace. You could enjoy the history of the creation and foundation of Saudi Arabia as a country. But by 20 minutes driver, you will go to King Abdullah financial districts, 62 high-rise buildings with very unique design, very unique facade by global and expert architecture. And really, and you know that we have a lot of seasons that have been implemented. We have Riyadh season, Taif season, for Rose Festival. We have now Coffee Beans Festival in the southern of Saudi Arabia. We have honey festivals. We have date festival in Qasim region and Ahsa region, and some most of these places and destinations have been registered under UNESCO. So I think we have, when it's come to history and foundation, we have a lot of landmark and destinations that need to be explored. And for the future, we are implementing a lot of giga projects, such as Al Giddiya. It will be the biggest entertainment and theme park in the world. And we will be having King Salman Gardens, global gardens. It will be Riyadh as well. We have Red Sea City, we have Neom, we have Amala, we have a lot of giga projects, and even we have like an incremental, and in daily basis you could see the difference when you visit at Dir'iyah, which is next to the Riyadh as a capital of Saudi Arabia. More than 5,000 rooms will be finished by 2023. I think this kinds of transformation, it's a way to be connecting with others, and absolutely it will be different kinds of tourism with other with other countries than next to us.
Absolutely. Wow, Fahad, it sounds incredible. You're doing a great job at making us all want to visit, that's for sure.
Welcome. But please through Discover Saudi.
Yeah, I mean, look, the landscape sounds really incredible. And yeah, you touched on some of the future development plans, which we'll actually revisit later, because I think there's a lot to discuss there. So thank you, Fahad. So Mustafa, are you able to tell us more about Accor's investment in Saudi Arabia, particularly the importance of the kingdom to your company and overall strategy?
Yeah, sure, Greg. But before I go into this point, I need just to highlight one thing, just to be fair with Saudi Arabia as well. I've been spending there the last, I would say, 19 years of my life. So just to be honest, people have to understand that Saudi is not new in the field of hospitality, is not new in the field of tourism. And I'm always correcting colleagues from travel agencies and new colleagues to hotels to say, let's think of hospitality from different perspectives. So you have people which travel for the sea, people travel for the desert safaris, people travel for nature, and Saudi people travel previously for religious tourism, because I consider religious tourism a very important sector that we cannot forget today. And if we look in terms of numbers and ratios, I would say Saudi was competing with the biggest ever destination receiving guests worldwide, because when you talk about pilgrims, Saudi was serving every year not less than 20 million visitors coming for religious tourism. So Saudi have a very strong base and very strong background and very strong assets in terms of tourism, but it's a specific sector of tourism which is the religious one.
Thank you for that point, Mustafa. That's really interesting.
And you have honestly destination not receiving more than 5 to 6 million. So when we talk about Saudi was receiving earlier 20 to 30 million on a yearly basis, that's a big number. Let me take you quickly to Accor one. I just want to mention this just to make sure that everyone understands the weight of Saudi today in tourism. So Accor, we are the first operator in the Middle East and Africa in terms of number of hotels and number of keys we are operating. And definitely we have in the GCC, if we talk all over GCC, we have almost 111 hotels operating today. And out of them, there's 34,000 keys that we are operating in the GCC. Out of those 34,000 keys, I would say half of them is in Saudi Arabia. So if we talk only about Mecca and Medina, we are operating almost 15,000 keys today collectively in Mecca and Medina. We are operating another 7,000 keys in different destinations. And when you look to our philosophy, we wanted to be everywhere. So I've heard Fahad, which is discussing today a lot of new destinations, and we are really supporting Sierra and supporting STA being on those destinations, Al-Ula, in Riyadh, in Gizan, in different destinations, in Taif, in a lot of destinations, which will be the future of Saudi Arabia in terms of hospitality. Accor is over there today, either with an existing project or with new project, which when we discuss Neom, we discuss Amala, we discuss the coastline of the Red Sea. So you will definitely find one of our hotels either operating, either in the pipeline to operate within the coming 2 years maximum. And this is because we understand the weight of Saudi, and we're sure that Saudi with the new vision 2030 will be really one of the very, very, very strong destinations which will be competing. Unfortunately, I have to say it will be competing with Egypt from one side, with Bahrain and UAE from the other side. But definitely, it's a very strong competitor coming on the ground today. And we as Accor, we want always to be part of the success of the vision of 2030.
Exciting times ahead. So, Anas, to come back to you, what do you want the destination to be for tourists?
In a nutshell, so it is the authentic Arabian experience. And I'm echoing everything that Fahad and Mustafa just mentioned about Saudi. I mean, you're talking about multiple UNESCO World Heritage Sites. You're talking about thousands of archaeological sites. You have beautiful deserts, mountains, lush mountains with beautiful hiking trails. You have virgin beaches, untouched. You know, it's the Red Sea. Everyone knows how rich the Red Sea is in terms of coral and marine life. In different and very unique cultural experiences that you can get north to south, east to west. Whichever way you dissect Saudi, you will see different cultures. It's rich in history. And that's why we're calling it the authentic Arabian experience. And not only that, the launching the domestic campaigns that we had, it was, I mean, we were ready pre-COVID to go ahead and as I said, we opened up in September 2019. So we laid the foundation, we laid the groundwork. Unfortunately, when COVID hit in 2020, that kind of halted our plans a bit, but it was a blessing and a curse, a blessing in disguise, because that made us launch domestic campaigns that were very successful, that helped us pressure test the entire ecosystem and identify the pain points that we can amend and address. So to us, right now, we elevated our standards, we elevated our offering, we guarantee the safety of our visitors. I mean, initially, Saudi is very low on crime rate. Okay, it's a very safe country, but now we're not looking at it from a physical safety, we're also looking at it from in terms of COVID restrictions and guidelines. So Saudi is ready and able. Once the restrictions are lifted, we're more than happy to welcome visitors and have them experience or live the authentic Arabian experience.
Fantastic answer, thank you. So I'm sure many on this call are wondering, who, out of our clients, who should we be targeting for this destination? So what I'd quite like to do is pass this now to Fahad. So Fahad, from your side as a DMC, what kind of demographic are you targeting? And from that demographic, what are they interested in? What do they like doing? Who are you sort of promoting your destination to in particular?
Yeah, I think the interest in Saudi Arabia is global. And as a tailor-made experts, we are able to cater for a range of interest and requirements because we have different kinds of activities, different kind of experiences, and even different kind of cultures. So we could depends on the client demographic, we could cater and design tailor-made packages for them. We are receiving, for example, a request from a high end, and customers, they want to explore they want to be the number, to be one of the first into the kingdom from the global side. They want to visit Al-Ahya, which is the biggest oasis globally, Al-Ahsa, because there are millions of dates palm there. And also they want to experience Al-Ula as one of the sites that register under UNESCO. So this kinds of customer already we are dealing with them. And also the true adventures. You could drive across the kingdom regardless of the duration. You could start from Riyadh, go to the empty quarter to do a camp, and then you could drive to the East Coast to go to Al-Ahsa. Then you will pass by Ethra Museum, which is available in Dhahran. It's already created by Aramco, very unique design, and you could see the history of oil creation in Saudi Arabia and oil foundation. And also you could pass by then the northern region. You could go see the Neom areas with different kind of mountain with a cliff on the Red Sea, and you could drive down to the King Abdullah Economic City to relax there with very luxurious hotel. And also, so what I want to say here, there are different kinds of experiences, and it could be fit in any kind of customer. And in the other sides, the developments that already happening in Saudi Arabia will be fitting to match the interest and the customer expectation. And even we are working to have some experiences for Umrah and Hajj visitors. Previously, Umrah visitors or the pilgrim are coming just to go to Mecca and Medina, and then they are leaving the country. Now we are working to develop some packages to be fitting for this segment. They could enjoy their activity in Mecca and Medina. Then we could send them to Al-Ula to explore the destination, Jeddah, having a diving trip in Jeddah or having a diving experience. So what I want to say, because we have a wide landscape, different culture, different geography, I would say, we could design the product or the packages depend on the customer interest.
Such a versatile destination, right? So you can really just understand your client and then you can shape the itinerary around them, and it has everything to do.
Absolutely.
Sounds like. So, and as touched on safety very briefly, both in the street, but also from a COVID standpoint. And Mustafa, you mentioned the volume of tourists, Saudi is familiar with. But off the back of that, Mustafa, a question for you. In your opinion, how ready is Saudi to receive international guests? For example, what health and hygiene measures are Accor taking today post-COVID from a hospitality standpoint?
Yeah, I'll give it to you in a funnel shape, Greg. So if you talk about in general Saudi, we have been seeing that Saudi today have took very strong measures for the last 1.5 years. I'm feeling a bit tired from my colleagues from Saudi Arabia that couldn't travel for 1.5 years staying in the country, but we have seen that there is aggressive action that the government have been taking for the safety of the nationals and the people which is living in the kingdom as well, as different and diversified. We have seen even when they open the borders, there is a lot of restrictions still going on, and there is a lot of requirement needed from insurance and medical coverages and a lot of things. So the kingdom is very well ready to receive the guests. And if I talk about Accor in specific, I'll tell you that Accor since the last 50 years have putting a priority for the guest safety and standard of hygiene. However, post-COVID, we have been uplifting this activities and we have been going into a very strong program called All Safe. So All Safe is not only a label that you will see in our hotels and you will see on the website when you try to book one of our hotels, but it's a huge program on the background, which have been done with interaction with Bureau Veritas, which is one of the strongest companies all over the world, which is working on the hygiene and the safety measures. Our program even have been registered with the WHO as a very strong program today to maintain safety and health standards. And this program requires a lot of investment, and we have seen all the owners from Saudi Arabia that owns hotel, which is operated by Accor, have been eager to work on this program. They didn't want to save money, even with a very hard economical situation due to COVID, but they were been investing for the safety of the guests. So this program is a very strong one. Whenever you go to any of our hotels, you will understand that it starts by having an ambassador for All Safe. So there will be a responsible person that will make sure to monitor, to audit, and to go in every aspect that might interact with the guest during his stay in the hotel and make sure that it's safe, it's hygienic, it's following the post-COVID norm in terms of safety and hygiene. So it's a very sophisticated one. It's a very strong program and requires a lot of training and a lot of investment in terms of financial investment and human investment as well. But you will see that 100% of our hotels in Saudi Arabia and outside Saudi is implementing those standards today.
Thanks, Mustafa. It sounds incredibly comprehensive. So Accor and Saudi are certainly ready to receive international guests safely. So fantastic. And as it sounds like there's really ambitious growth plans. It all sounds extremely exciting. What social initiatives are you putting in place to support the growth?
So yeah, as you said, very, very huge growth ambitions. I mean, again, going back to the Vision 2030, we were talking about the 100 million visitors. I mean, currently, tourism sector itself is 3.4% of our GDP, and the aim is to grow that into 10% contribution. So that means everything we do needs to and has to be sustainable. And when we're talking about sustainability, of course, it needs to continue to grow. We're talking about communities, basically bringing in the trade and the community into the ecosystem, elevating the offering, helping them develop and evolve to be able to cater to different kinds of visitor types. And at the same time, looking at the environment. I'll give you 2 examples right now off the top of mind. We're talking about Red Sea Development, and the Red Sea Development Company is totally sustainable. It's dedicated to 100% sustainable energy, renewable, and sustainable resources. So that way we can protect the environment, not only for the tourism perspective, for tourism's sake, but also for future generations to ensure that the country continues to prosper and to remain a beacon within the region. Now, another example would be Al Ula, which is a very important and key archaeological site. With Al Ula, the challenge was the lack of accommodation. I mean, the accommodation was there, but there was not enough to accommodate for the number of visitors. Now, Al Ula, the Royal Commission for Al Ula is working on developing accommodation that's sustainable, that fits within the ambience of the location. And it's not something that we're not going to build artificial towers. Okay, it just doesn't fit a beautiful historic destination. We're beautifully nestled within the desert. I mean, it needs to fit, be sustainable towards the environment and towards the general experience that the visitor would have. I mean, we as Saudis are lucky enough to have such beautiful diversity in terms of the destinations that we have and the experience we have, that no one visit is the same. And again, that also boils down to having the authentic Arabian experience in what we offer.
And what a refreshing approach. So it's wonderful to hear. Very exciting to hear the growth plans, but also, you know, the accountability for the environment, which also, you know, is as a result is what's going to attract the guests to visit. So it's fantastic to hear. Fahad, I have a question for you. Are you able to tell us about any new product developments that are suitable for luxury travelers, but that also celebrate the hospitality of Arabian culture?
Yeah, the beauty of Saudi Arabia is that it caters to the global luxury traveler of today in many different ways. And whilst we are keeping our culture in the heart, we don't want to change our culture. But, you know, of course, there are developments and the new luxury hotels will be opening, such as Riyadh and Jeddah, the famous iconic Al Faisaliya Tower. Now it's a Mandarin Oriental hotel. And even we have our new Shangri-La Hotel in Riyadh, and in Jeddah will be on Corniche. And there are different projects already under development. And it will be like unique brands such as Aman, Six Senses, and also and even Four Seasons are implementing a new hotel. I think they are developing a hotel even in Al Ula. So there are many of hotels and hotel luxury brands name are developing a lot of projects here. And also there are associating between like Ministry of Tourism, General Entertainment Authority, and even the other like Ministry of Sports, Ministry of Culture. There are many events that will be announcing soon. Like I will give an example, like Formula One. Formula One will be in Jeddah in the last quarter. There are many VIP packages that will be implementing during the events. Rally Dakar, we already have been in Rally Dakar, and already we managed a lot of VIP packages there, and also such as like Winter at Tantura in Al Ula. There are, I know that there are some limitation when it's come to accommodation, but you know, when it's come to VIP experience, there are many experiences that will be fit to the luxury segments. In other side, the giga projects such as Amala, Red Sea City, Red Sea, and also Neom, there are always consideration to have, I would say, a trail or an approach to be serving the luxury segments. And always there are like very interest on very, I would say, high care from the management of these properties to be like serving these kinds of customers. And even we are sure that after I would say, I think the 2023 will be like a big milestone of Saudi Arabia. The first phase of Qiddiya will be opening. First phase of Dir'iyya will be opening. And even there are another project will be like opening many of the islands and their developments, which is part of the Red Sea projects. So I'm sure that we'll have like big celebration by 2023. And absolutely, from tour operating point of view, which is Discover Saudi that we are doing right now, we are offering like different kinds of transportations. And you will see when you visit Al Ula, some of Rolls-Royce Cullinan will be like doing a transportation for some customers. And we saw that during in the last winter at Tantura Festival, which is in Al Ula. And even there are like many providers that will be providing different kinds of transportation tool, luxury yachts, and even different types of rooms and accommodation that will be fitting with luxury segments.
Thank you, Fahad. There's a lot to keep on top of it by the sounds of things. So do remember that Discover Saudi are a Connections member, and you can refer to their profile on our community platform for updates and new products. So do look out for that.
Thank you.
So Mustafa, finally, are you able to tell us what other actions Accor hotels are taking to improve the tourism flows within the kingdom?
Yeah, sure, Greg. As Fahad mentioned, Fahad have, I think, put together a majority of the destination, which will attract a lot of visitors on the coming future. And I would confirm as well that we are there. We are there everywhere where the kingdom is investing. We are investing too. So if you talk about Al Ula today, let's not forget, Fahad, as well, the banyan tree Al Ula, which is one of the key places in Al Ula today that was Accor camp earlier and was having the Maraya festival and a lot of festivals. So today it's a banyan tree, will be opening very soon. And multiple hotel like in ultra luxury segment like the Raffles. So if you look to my background, you will see the clock towers, which is the iconic towers of the Saudi Arabia, and those are 7 towers. 6 of them are Accor hotels, and 2 of them are from the luxury segment, which is the Raffles Hotel as well as Fairmont Hotel. We are coming again to the luxury market, as Fahad mentioned, in Jeddah, because it's a very key market for us with Raffles Jeddah that will be open on the Corniche side. One of our brands, not only on luxury, but as well, we are keen to bring the lifestyle brands to Saudi Arabia, because that's part of the vision as well of Saudi Arabia, not only luxury, but as well lifestyle. So we're bringing our Rexuses to Saudi Arabia very soon, and it will be in a very key destinations that will serve Saudis and tourists that come to Saudi Arabia. So Saudi in the field of luxury is a very important market, not only to receive luxury guests, but let's not forget that Saudis themselves were the luxury travelers going everywhere in the world, and they have a very high capacity of luxury buying power, and they are very much oriented as well for the luxury segment. And part of what we are doing today is not only for accepting visitors from outside the kingdom, but to make sure to entertain visitors within the kingdom itself. So we talk about Saudis that used to travel abroad as well, is to stay in Saudi Arabia and enjoy their country and enjoy Saudi in a new style. Part of our work that we do that is coming from our network today. We have a strong network of 5,200 hotels around the world that we are operating. And we are having a global team which is managing sales and distribution among those properties. So we are really using the expertise of this team to make sure to impede the flows that goes especially within the GCC, to make sure that it can come to the kingdom as well. I give you a couple of quick examples that we're doing today. If we talk about Al Ula as a heritage destination, so we are trying to combine efforts with our sales that sells Upper Egypt, Luxor, and Aswan, and those destinations to make sure to push Al Ula as a destination with them as well for the tour operator, which is working with us. That make a great sense in terms of destination. The other team, which is working on Red Sea, that's a very important because we are a very strong capacity on the Red Sea. If we talk about Egypt along the coast of the Red Sea, from Red Sea North, we talk about Taba, Sharm el-Sheikh, going down to Hurghada, Marsa Alam. So we have a very strong team, which is today preparing themselves to sell Neom and to sell Amala and to sell the Red Sea coastline hotels in Saudi Arabia. So by those type of interaction and network, we are really focusing to push the flows. A couple of last examples. I don't want to take too much time, but again, let's not forget our all, which is Accor Live Limitless, our key program, loyalty program that have 6 million guests from Saudi Arabia and GCC, only from Saudi Arabia and GCC, which is very strong existence to the program. And we're trying to animate this network of loyalty member as well and introduce the kingdom for them. And the last one is definitely, as we are strong in the holy destination, we are almost managing 80% of the inventory in the holy destinations. We are trying to capitalize to add programs to the pilgrims, which is coming from very, very key source markets like Indonesia, like Malaysia, even those coming from the UK, from Germany. We are trying to sell them combined programs, which is to come to do the holy rituals and pass by other destinations in the kingdom, like Al-Ula, like Riyadh, like Jeddah, and all those entertainment that Fahad mentioned in his scope as well.
Thank you so much, Mustafa. So we're about to do a brief Q&A, but I've got one more question for all three of you, if that's okay. And I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. But naturally, over the last year and a half, we've got to know our own destinations better than ever. I've certainly learned a lot more about the UK and different experiences and places that I can visit. So could I start maybe with you, Anna? What's your favorite location, or what's your favorite experience that you've had more recently in Saudi?
To me, it has to be the Red Sea. So I just love the ocean, or basically the sea. I am a diver, so to me, just going into different destinations within the Red Sea itself, going to multiple coral reefs, enjoying the marine life that's there, the beauty, the colors, to me, that's the ultimate experience. And to me, that was my sanity check during all this chaos. I just go there and just unwind and rewind. So to me, that's my safety net.
Fantastic. And Fahad?
Yeah, actually, some of that experience because of the work, but you know, I have been in the cruise of Saudi Arabia, which is like in Red Sea. It was very excellent experience last summer. And also in the winter, you know, the camping in the desert, really, it's very excellent experience to do a camp and even to see the cultures of you will be cooking, meeting the people, see a lot of camels in the deserts. And this is something we need, and from our company point of view, we are developing some assets to be capturing that segment, and you will see the announcement soon. And also from our side, I remember last summer, I went by car. It was a land driving, because in that time to go inside the plane after COVID, it's a bit risky. So we drove in the West Coast around 1,000 kilometers between mountains. We reach out to Abha. And in that time, it was 45 centigrade in Riyadh. When we reached Abha, it was around 16 centigrade, raining. And the forest, it's fully green. Then we went out to Faifa Mountains. Faifa Mountain, there were a lot of mango trees and coffee beans. And we enjoyed to have the most ready to be collected when it's come to coffee beans. We roast it by ourselves, then we drink the coffee by ourselves. I think this experience, I'm living in Saudi Arabia, but I never imagine that I will go to Faifa to have a tourism or even an Umluj. But I think STA, not in front of Anas, but I think STA did a great job when it's come to domestic tourism. They did a good campaign in summer and winter. And I could see a lot of our customers that usually are traveling outbound, and even when the international flights or international travel already allowed, they are still thinking to have some holidays inside the kingdom, and they want to explore more and more. And I think still it's a start, and I'm sure in future the accommodation in some areas still a challenge, the experience, the training, but I think Ministry of Tourism are doing really an extensive efforts just to develop all aspects. When it's come to human capital, they already announced to create 100,000 jobs in the first quarter, around 30,000 jobs. They are doing a lot of virtual training to tour operators, receptionists in the hotel, and anyone that will be graduating. Now in my team, there are around 10 students that are doing a co-op training from the university. And universities are communicating with us as Sierra Group. They want to send a lot of students to be working, to do a co-op training with us. And even other side, the development of the sites. So I enjoyed what I did, and I'm sure that I hope to enjoy more and more in future. Sorry, it was a long answer.
It was great, Fahad. Thank you so much. Mustafa, I remember when we were speaking previously, you had some thoughts on like human capital side of things, so you might want to expand on that. But I'd also love to hear what your sort of lockdown pastime was. Maybe it was diving with Anas. I don't know.
I would share with Anas and Fahad their passion for the sea, but as you mentioned in the beginning, I cannot live in a city where there is no sea, and I'm very much connected to it. But I have to tell you that I don't know why Anas didn't want to talk about it, but I think I have the glory to be in the Maldives, in the Arabian Maldives, which is the Versailles Islands, which is the new project of Saudi Arabia. And I'm quite sure this is the experience that everyone has to see, because it's an Arabian Maldives. But with a complete different, with all my respect to Maldives as destination, we operate hotels over there, but nothing will be compared to those islands, which Saudi Arabia is now putting a lot of development. And I'm quite sure that this area will be different. And I had the pleasure to be there, to stay there, and to dive over there with a couple of friends. And I think this area will be the Maldives of the Middle East, will be the Maldives of the Red Sea. And there will be no competitor for those islands, I'm quite sure. And this is an experience I think people really need to go and see this area. It's very, very new, very natural, the corals, the underwater life, and even not only the underwater life. When you talk about the vision of Saudi on building eco hotels or developing the ecotourism on those islands, it's amazing. It's amazing, and I think it's really going to be the destination of the Middle East.
Wow, I want to visit. Thank you, Mustafa. So
you have to take a permission to visit now. Still under development. Anas can help you because they are the one who manages this area for the time being.
Can we get on the wait list, please? Is that everyone on this call will sign up? So we had a few questions in the chat, but Nat has been absolutely fantastic in getting back to all of them. One of them was concerning the ability for couples who are unmarried to stay in the same room, and she's informed us that under the new visa rules, that's absolutely fine, which is fantastic. We had another question asking about direct flights out of the US. Please, anyone feel free to answer this one on the panel.
As we are dealing with airlines, Saudi Airlines are traveling direct to US, even Saudi Airlines, this is the official airlines, but there are United, I'm sure United Airways are coming, Delta are arriving, are dealing with airlines, and even you could use like Emirates. It will be stopover in Dubai, but there are like every day there are flights from Emirates Airways, and even from Saudi Arabia there are two destinations, the Riyadh and Jeddah and Dammam, and even in US, Washington DC, New York, and Los Angeles.
Great stuff. So very well connected indeed, and I'm sure that's the case internationally, right? Good European connections, Australasia, yeah. I'd imagine. Yeah. Okay. Fantastic stuff. We had another question about how long would you suggest to stay in Saudi? So, is it a week-long trip? Is it something you need to put 2 weeks aside for? Can you do it in a long week? Experience some Saudi's hospitality in a long weekend? Anyone, please, on the panel, feel free to answer and suggest.
I think Fahad would be able to answer this, but I would say it kind of depends on the experience you're looking for. Is it a quick getaway? Is it a truly immersive kind of wanderlust trip? So it depends. Like I said, Saudi is very diverse. It's rich in culture, and you will always have something new to add, be it from an experience or from a destination or something to see, something to try. Even the food is unique. So it depends on what you can afford in terms of time. But yeah, I mean, anything goes in Saudi. It can be long haul, it can be short.
Yeah, from Discover Saudi point of view, we design different kinds of packages. There is a packages for 7 nights, packages for 12 nights, packages for 5 nights, and each package will be fit. And you could like between, I would say, between 5 nights to 12 nights, you will be exploring a lot, and you could extend more and more. Depends on your preference. If you are a diver, absolutely, you would say you want to stay like 2 or 3 nights in Red Sea, you will move to other destination. But between, I would say, 5 nights to 2 weeks, we have different product that will be fit for any interests. And I put an example in the chat, a YouTube link. We did that trip. It was only 4 days in the south and Jazan, which is Farasan Islands. More than 1,000 Virgin Islands together. So you could like enjoy that video as well.
Thank you for sharing. We'll have a look at that afterwards.
I think, Greg, sorry, we will make it easy. The more is better for all of us.
Noted. Thank you. Well, I wish we had longer, but unfortunately, that's all we've got time for today. There are many other things that I would love to discuss with you, the giga projects that you have in store, more on the sustainability side of the destination, because I know that's a massive focus for you. But maybe we can do a Connect Talks discovering luxury tourism in Saudi part 2 in the future, perhaps, if you'd be able to join us again. But look, a massive thank you to all of our panelists, to Mustafa, to Fahad, to Anas. We really appreciate your time and your amazing answers as well. Looking at it from a hotelier, the destination, DMC, it's incredibly valuable. So thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
So this marks the end of the session. We'll actually now continue with an informal social for whoever would like to stay on. However, for those that have just marked the hour in their diary and need to get off to other meetings, thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you again soon. So take care and goodbye.